It's day 6 of airstrikes between Israel and Gaza. An estimated 300,000 Israeli Defense Forces are poised to launch a ground offensive, among them a 20-year-old man from our area.
I would love if you could send a message from Ari Dubin, too, saying that we're okay, and that we're not doing anything too dangerous, because we're actually not doing anything too dangerous. We're going to be okay. Please let my mom know I'm alive, and that I have 10 toes and 10 fingers, and everything's okay.
That's where we're at. Ari Dubin's family lives in Wyckoff, New Jersey, which is part of the 5th Congressional District, and that is Congressman Josh Gottheimer's district, who is joining us now with the latest on what's being done to get so many Americans stranded in Israel back here to safety. So, Congressman, good to see you this morning. Thanks for being here.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
And before we get to the journey of trying to get so many Americans back here, do you know if there are any other young men, right, from our area like Ari Dubin who have gone to Israel to join the Israeli Defense Forces?
We have many from New Jersey, many from around the country, and there are planes leaving, bringing reservists who serve in the IDF, who live in the United States, to Israel, and of course we've been working for the last days to get folks and families who are in Israel back to the United States. So the key right now is to make sure, as we just heard, that everyone is safe. We know that unfortunately you've also have those in the United States right now who have lost loved ones, including in New Jersey, and it's heartbreaking. I've been on the phone with, I was on the phone yesterday with a family who has a son who's serving in IDF from my district, who is a hostage, who's missing.
Oh, my goodness.
And we know we lost a New Jersey native as well in the last few days, who's a native of Paramus, New Jersey. So it's a very rough time, in addition to, of course, the 1,200 who've perished in Israel. And of course 150 or so hostages right now.
Yeah, we have seen so many terrifying images and stories that we've heard as well. Do you have any indication on whether or not Israel's ground offensive has started?
No, I'm just seeing what we're seeing on TV is just from the air. Right, it appears just from the air right now. I've not been. I'm on the intelligence committee, but they've not briefed us on anything further. But I'll say this: the images we've all seen are just so horrific, and literally all I do is sit here and wonder, how the importance of us making sure that Israel, given how important the relationship the United States has with Israel, how we must do everything we can to give them what they need to get the hostages home, and of course to bring Hamas and Palestinian Jihad and the other terrorists to justice.
Yeah, there are so many different facets to this story, right, and to this war. One of them being getting Americans back home. You mentioned it at the top. So the U.S. State Department says it's working, right, on different travel options for Americans stranded in Israel. But it seems like commercial flights are hard to come by, right? Some folks are waiting weeks to get out. They've been trying. They're not able to get onto a flight until next week or a week after, and it's going to cost a lot of money. Any update on where it stands on getting people out quickly?
We're working with the State Department on that and put in several requests. If people go to my website, gottheimer.house.gov, there's a form you can fill out that'll help us work with the State Department on your behalf. Many people I've spoken to are connecting through other countries to get home. As you know, American carriers are not running planes from Israel home or to Israel right now. Other international carriers are running routes, but through other countries. So we're trying to get everyone home.
Right, but those are up to the individuals, right? Those individuals are booking those journeys themselves to Athens, to Paris, to New York.
Yes, we've asked the State Department to run planes, and we're waiting on a response on that.
Okay. Well, you did introduce a bipartisan bill, right, which would give Israel $2 billion to build up its Iron Dome defense system. Now, given the fact that Congress is at a standstill right now, waiting on a vote, right now, when do you expect that a bill would actually come up for a vote?
Well, it's really up to the Republicans have to pick a speaker, and that's what they've been behind closed doors working on. We're also looking for other means. We have a Speaker pro temp, Patrick McHenry, looking for means to see if there's more room to give him to be able to get some of these bills to the floor to get a vote, which I think is critically important, right? I mean, as people are seeing images of children, young people being burned alive and beheaded, and obviously stories we've heard from so many
Horrific.
people over there of rape, and it's so horrific.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk about.
Of course.
And the action is critically important. I mean, I think the key now is to make sure we do everything we can to get the hostages home, and of course to bring these terrorists to justice.
Yeah, just horrific. Some of the details here, they're really difficult to talk about. And I do want to talk about what's happening back here at home, too, because it's just as important. You talked about Republicans, right, and how it's important for them to pick a speaker. So some of the humanitarian aid could be sent over there, which you need Congress to have a speaker for. Do you think Congress will vote today on who the next speaker will be? Steve Scalise, Jim Jordan? Those are the two names that have been floated, right? Steve Scalise is now the nominee. Do you expect this to drag out like it did last time?
Well, one thing before I answer that, one thing, the president right now, and if you say he's given several very strong statements, and so did the Secretary of State, about making sure that we can get, and we are doing that, getting
Yes.
Israel what it needs to defend herself and to take proper measures. So that is happening. I think the question is down the road, making sure they continue to have
Right.
what they need.
Yeah, much like
there.
Ukraine.
Right, exactly. In terms of the speaker, it's really because I'm not in that room, it's hard to know all the machinations of what's going on and who would have the votes and not have the votes. I know right now, I don't believe they have a meeting scheduled yet today to get back together to try to figure that out. I mean, it's incredibly frustrating, I'm sure.
Of course.
For everyone involved, but especially those of us who want to make sure we get on with the business of the country. So we're looking for other ways to do that. And we have a lot of work to do for the country. So we're going to keep focusing on that, and of course, making sure we do everything we can for the community and for the community, which I think is critically important.
Yeah.
Of course. Congressman Gottheimer, thank you so much for the work that you're doing to bring our fellow Americans home. We appreciate
We
your
got to
time
bring
this
home.
morning.
And the last thing I want to say is we've lost 25. They just put up a new number. We've lost 25 Americans so far in this war. And so this is an attack on Americans. Americans are being held hostage as well. We know. So we pray for all of them and for the families who've lost loved ones, especially Americans. And so let's all stay together here. We're going to need it in the days and weeks ahead. Thank you so much.
Understood. Thank you very much, Congressman.
Thank you.